If you need to defend yourself with a firearm, two hands on the gun with nothing else in them is your best bet. Want to take your knowledge beyond the narrated videos? Join us on Active Self-Protection Extra and subscribe for multiple videos every week to help you get better in your defensive skills. Hi everyone, this is John with today's Active Self-Protection lesson out of Pasadena, Texas, which is a suburb of Houston. Here we're going to see an officer-involved incident that goes from a routine traffic stop to deadly force in a hurry. And it's going to teach us important lessons about battling complacency in your day-to-day life, about putting shots on target accurately, and why we say you gotta train to get everything out of your hands when you need your firearm. Several news stories to read in the description on this one. This guy that the officer has lit up for a traffic violation goes for about 6 blocks before pulling over. Now we have some audio here from the officer's body cam. It's important, so we're gonna listen in. We'll come back and learn some lessons when it's over.
Hey, stay in the vehicle. Stay in the vehicle. Stay in the vehicle. Show me your hands. Show me your hands. Hey! 481, shots fired. Shots fired. Schooner and Southmore.
And with the threat ended, the officer stopped shooting and is going to wait for backup to arrive. This one did involve the room temperature challenge. This perp did not make it. Let's go back and think about some significant lessons out of this one. This officer is a professional. Officer Adams has been with the department for 13 years is what the news story said. But you know, every day it's something new, and I'm sure he wasn't expecting this to turn into that, but it did. A couple things of importance here. You notice in the top right, as Officer Adams gets out of his car, he has his cell phone in his left hand. Now, there's going to be some important stuff that's going to come out of that, but my recommendation for all of us actually is to carry the things that you need to actually in your dominant hand, because you're going to drop it only when you need that hand to hold something else, and that's going to become important in a minute. Now, he's going to holler at this guy, you know, stay in the car. He doesn't want him to get out because bad things happen when he gets out, and because the guy won't show him his hands and he's getting out of the car, those are both markers for an officer that bad things are in that guy's hands. So yes, he is totally justified to draw his firearm in this instance because he's telling him to get in the car and he won't, not showing him his hands and all those things. So this is a pretty significant issue here. Now, as a guy gets back in his car and the gun comes up, now is when we start to see, again in the top right on the body cam, you can see that the officer still has his cell phone in his hand. And he's going to use that cell phone in this first volley of shots, and that is going to make it very difficult for him to get accurate shots on target. So you see him here put a bunch of volley of shots, but none of them are going to be effective at stopping the threat. I do very much like that in this, the officer has backed up while he is shooting effectively or trying to shoot effectively and gotten to the back of his cruiser so that he can get around it. Good stuff there so he can use better than the door for cover. Now, as he's going to go around, I want to pay attention to a couple things here about bystanders. Number one, the bystander of the car that's down here in the left side, but number two is this walker we can see in the officer's body cam. Now, the walker is just going to mosey his way through the rest of this, whereas the car is going to put it in reverse and hit the gas and get the heck out of there. Friends, if you're a bystander and bullets start flying, don't mosey through things. Get the heck out of there as fast as you possibly can. Just an aside thing there. Now, I love that the officer is going to go around to the other side of the car because you don't want to come back up where he last saw you. You want to come up somewhere he is not expecting you. But I do notice here that Officer Adams, that first shot, notice that he takes there, goes into his cruiser, it goes low. Super common for us to get a little bit too much on the trigger and push a shot low, which is why you got to work on your marksmanship fundamentals all the time, even if you're good with it. Now, finally, you see that the guy did shoot at the officer here. He put a shot downrange at the officer. This was clearly a deadly threat at this point. And the officer at this point, at about 2 car lengths, about 15, 16 yards, put the shots on target that he needed to. And I love the fact here that the guy went down. You can see that he put the gun down. The gun is next to him on his side, and the officer stopped shooting, which was exactly the right thing to do there. He stopped the threat, and that was the right time to quit shooting. All things considered, man, I think Officer Adams did a fantastic job here. A couple things for us to think about and work on. Common sense stuff like where we put our phone and stuff like that, but he moved well. He did enough. He watched the bystanders. He put the shots that he needed to on target, and then he stopped and did no more and covered his asp.